Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the December NOAC Chamber Series event, Focus Series. My name is Cindy Holzheimer. I am the President, CEO of the Northern Ohio Area Chambers of Commerce. NOAC is an association of 134 chambers of commerce across Northern Ohio. We provide cost-saving solutions for chambers to include in their member benefits. We also, like we're doing this morning, we provide professional and organizational development for our chamber leaders. I would like to take a quick minute just to kind of let you know who your peers are that are on the board at NOAC. Our board chair is Missy McWhorter, our immediate past chair, John Sobolewski, our vice chair, Karen Tursick. Whoop. Went one too far. Rachel Weinkoop is our treasurer. Greg Church, our secretary. Karen Bosley, who's on the call, is a brand new director this year, and also Tony Gallo. Well, I'm excited I get to introduce today's speaker, Megan Vogias. Megan is the director of engagement at Geminos, I get it wrong every time, a consulting firm committed to supporting individuals and nonprofits with community and employee engagement. With over 2 decades of experience in communication, engagement, and development, Megan is a networking artist who flourishes in helping others discover comfort and confidence in the art of communication. If you have never met Megan, she's extremely, she's just super kind. She's wonderful. She's great to work with. She is powered by coffee, community, and kindness. So I love that so much. So it's my pleasure to welcome this morning, Megan Vogias. Take it away.
Thank you, Cindy, so much. And hearing those words, it just makes me get all warm and fuzzy because I love helping chambers. So when you talk about what my organization does, to take a minute, I have 3 target groups I love to help all day, every day. It's solopreneurs, chambers, and libraries. So you'll find a lot of different opportunities that we talk about today are about how do you engage those audiences also with each other and also in accordance with the kind of building cross partnerships. So we'll get to that later. But for today, I want you to go ahead and we're going to start. I'm going to share my screen. So let me pop this out real quick. 1 second. All right. So we're going to adjust just a smidge so I can still see all of your faces. That's kind of my goal because I love seeing the faces on here. So, all righty. So can you all, let's see, if I share, can you all see? Are you seeing the screen? Okay, so we're going to dive in. Are you seeing the one that has my notes on it? If you're seeing my notes, shake your head. Okay, cool. Just making sure. All right. Janet's here as well. So we'll let Janet in. All right, so let's dive into this. So hi, I'm Megan Vogias. Today, you are going to walk away with some pretty awesome marketing and managing tools. So we're going to dive right into these. All right. So first and foremost, as we go through, first thing we're going to start with is we're going to talk about your QR code. So everyone actually has one. If you want to pull out your phones, this is the only time in any webinar that someone's going to go, please use your phone. Please pull out your phone and use it during this webinar. You're going to go ahead and scan that QR code, and you're going to see my face on LinkedIn pop up. In addition to that, you're also going to see my face start to move. As a bonus tip, each and every one of you has your own QR LinkedIn code. Some of you, if you've reached a certain connection threshold, are also going to have options to have what's called creator mode, add your own video. We'll talk about that later when we talk about a future course I'm offering, but go ahead and scan and connect. If you want to take a screenshot, you can, but know that after this presentation, everything will be shared with you. So we're going to go to the next one. Now, if you're looking and you're like, oh, I only see follow on Megan's page, click the 3 dots and then you'll see the option to connect. I don't expect you to send an invitation today. All right. Next, I already went over what you're going to need today. So a pen or pencil, 4 pieces of paper, not including your notes, your calendar, digital is fine, a highlighter or a different colored pen, Post-its. So, and then in addition to that, an open mind to kind of play with stuff. So Post-its, pen, this, and then 4 pieces of paper. And I don't have those right now because I am going to be presenting. So let's dive in. All right. Yeah, Jessica's going to jump in. All right. So we'll give everybody a chance to warm up. So again, everything you need, pen, pencil, make sure those are handy. All right. if you would be so kind, please, in the chat, please do me a favor and drop your information. So the fun part about a chat in LinkedIn is, guess what? It already says what your name is. But if you feel the need to add your name, you can. But I need to know your chamber, your position. So what do they refer to you as? Not just chamber rockstar. Your LinkedIn URL. It needs to include the HTTPS. If you don't know how to access that, go to your LinkedIn page and just copy and paste that URL with your profile. So go to your LinkedIn, your profile, and then copy and paste that URL. And then what question you like asking people at networking events. So I will give you an example. So I'll type my name. I'll put my LinkedIn URL. I'll put my group. So I'm just going to put EVL for consulting because you all know I'm here. Then we're also going to put, I am the engagement director. My favorite question to ask is, what do you enjoy about your work? So go ahead and follow that same format as we are jumping into today's session. So go ahead and introduce yourself in the chat. What question? I love, like Mark already has, he's with Fairview Park, so he's right around the corner for me. I'm sitting here in Berea. Dana's with Euclid. So we've got all kinds of options. So go ahead and drop that information in the chat as we go along, and let's dive into the agenda and get rocking. All right, so here is the next one.
How do you find that URL, the LinkedIn?
Yeah, if you go to, hold on, let me pause for a second. So if we go to LinkedIn, I'll share my screen again for you. So share screen, LinkedIn. All right, come up here to the corner where your floating head is, click view profile. Then up here, you have a URL. Then just copy paste the whole thing. So keyboard shortcut is Control C if you're on Windows, or you can just right click and hit copy. And drop that in the chat. Now, if you're looking at your name here and it's like, Julie, I'm just going to give an example for you. Please don't take it personally. It'll be like Julie Mostoff 1269721. And you're like, who is that? Hi, Kelly. One of the quick hacks that we talk about in one of my workshops is editing your URL, which is over here, and taking away those numbers. But again, just say hello and drop that in the chat. As you notice, Cindy has hers. Dana, yours looks great. So we should be good there. So we will go through. I love this. All right, so we're going to stop. All right, I'm going to go back to that PowerPoint, y'all. Get you rocking and rolling. All right. Can everybody still see, or are you seeing my chat? Is everybody good? We're still some thumbs up if you can see my screen. Cool. All right. So we're going to go through the agenda right quick, right? So the agenda right now that we have is defining what marketing is via short and sweet explanation, knowing your funnel, refining your scope, developing a strategy, planning time to do it, or sorry, prioritizing your steps and then planning time to conquer those steps. Is there anything on this agenda that I haven't listed that you want to get out of today? Go ahead and drop it in the chat if I missed something. Right. We are going to use the chat today quite a bit. Quick Zoom navigation also. If you hover at the bottom of your Zoom screen, you'll see reactions as well, like this. Like I'm laughing out loud because Cindy is entertaining when she drinks coffee. Or I watched the video of Greg boxing Cindy at the Bright Star event. Or I love that idea. So at the bottom where you see reactions, you're going to see different things, including my favorite, raising hand. So if you ever need to ask a question and I am just on fire talking about stuff, feel free to stop and pause. So, all right, let's dive in again. Okay, so we're gonna go back to where we were. So let's dive in and talk about what is marketing. So for those of you on the call, first of all, thank you for taking a step forward and wanting to improve your marketing. That's a big step, especially when we look at the way marketing has pivoted in the past couple of years. but this definition stands true. This is from the American Marketing Association, and I love this robust definition. Marketing is the activity set of institutions and processes for creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging offerings that have value for customers, clients, partners, and society at large. I'm going to read that again. Marketing is the activity, set of institutions and processes for creating, communicating, delivering, exchanging offerings that have value for customers, clients, partners, and society at large. How many of you feel like that's really cumbersome and adds a lot of fear to your plate? Let's break it down. What if marketing was just an activity that communicated value? Does that seem more manageable? Yeah. So I want you to take a step back. The American Marketing Association is incredible. I'm familiar with the organization. And when you look at that, yeah, they have to have a comprehensive decision. But for purposes of today and moving forward, don't let marketing overwhelm you. We're going to break this down simple and sweet. All marketing needs to be is an activity that communicates value. 3 simple things, right? And that's what we're going to talk about today, is breaking it down that way. So back to Cindy's point, I want you to feel confident walking out of today that you have those tools in your tool belt, right? So for those of you who've never liked social media or engaged in marketing, and you're like, I don't even want to touch technology, but then the pandemic happened and you were like, oh, I have to touch technology because now all my members are online and there's 8 million users on LinkedIn and everybody's on Facebook, but they don't like Facebook anymore. And Twitter's a whole dumpster fire and I don't know what to do and I'm completely overwhelmed. Okay, let's back up. Let's start with this. Think of social media as this vintage collection of great tools and ways we share stories. I love when Karen said, hey, I found this great artwork of Jogga Lake behind me. You know, a friend found it at an estate sale and I absolutely love it. Wonderful. That's vintage. That's classic. That's collectible. So are the things that you're doing on social. So when you're looking out your window and wanting to watch things, you're thinking YouTube. If you're wanting to grab that address book and connect with a friend or family member, that's Facebook. If you're wanting to come up with ideas, that's Pinterest. If you're wanting to capture really great pictures and just share them with the world, that's Instagram. If you're really going, oh, I need that Rolodex. Who was that partner I had that had a small business that was a print house? And I think her name was Kate. Okay. That's where you're going to find her on LinkedIn. Twitter is where right now, oh, that was lovely. Sorry, something just fell off my desk. So the other thing was Twitter right now, we're going to pause on that because Twitter is pivoting a lot since the acquisition they had with Elon Musk. So we're not going to talk about Twitter today. Let me continue to do my research on that and we'll go through there. So let's pivot. So now that you kind of have that visual in mind, if this is what we're doing, we're going to talk about your scope of marketing. All right. So your scope of marketing, if we looked at a technical definition or you picked up a book on Marketing 101, you would hear the 4 Ps. Marketing is all about product, price, place, and promotion. Product, price, place, and promotion. Great. For those of you in chamber world, can you forget that for a second and think of it this way instead? Marketing is really engagement. You're communicating value when you're engaging with your audience. The 4 groups you're engaging with are your prospects. So that's kind of your top of funnel activity. The members that you currently have and your members' employees and their teams and their coworkers. That 6 degrees of Dana or 6 degrees of Mark is endless. So we'll talk about that. Your social network. So I said earlier that there were 8 billion people on LinkedIn. Yeah. 2 years ago, that was 7. So at the peak of the pandemic, we saw 7 billion people on LinkedIn, and then it pivoted, right? It's crazy. Over 50% of people or executives and businesses are online, which there's all kinds of statistics we can dive into. But when you talk about engagement, these are the questions to start asking yourself. 1, who are you trying to connect with in 2023? This is part of marketing. Who's our audience? Who do we want to connect with? Who are the members we're trying to reach? Are you looking for more industry people in the industrial sector and manufacturing? Are you looking for more of the nonprofits in your community? Are you looking to connect with the solopreneurs? Who is that audience? And let's narrow it down, right? Then how will you get your community and your colleagues involved? Wait, but I didn't think marketing was about the how. It was just about what we were communicating. But how we communicated is just as important. So how are you going to connect your community and your colleagues? Community being your members, your social network, your prospects, that whole group. How are you going to do that? Next, well, when are you going to even have time to post if you have a busy schedule enough? And how many of you are like, I could use another assistant? How many of you would like to hire your own virtual assistant? And then another one. Yes, Cindy would like one. Mark would love one. I love this. Okay. So when are you going to even find time to post? And then what engagement do you see from your board members and colleagues on social? So one of my favorite people to, and I reference this often, and if Parma's on the call, Parma Chamber. So my friend Chris Inman is part of the Parma Chamber, and he is nonstop in posting on social and engaging on social and being on Facebook and all of that. And when we talk about that, we talk about, you know what, he's a really active member of the chamber who likes to promote things. Well, because of Chris's activity and my activity on LinkedIn, the story goes that I had done a post on what libraries offer, right? And libraries offer all these great resources for community members and chambers. And then I did a LinkedIn Live with a friend of mine from Detroit who's in a chamber named Chris. Chris is in the Troy chamber. We started talking about all the library does for his chamber and our chamber. So Chris had this idea. He's like, wait, I saw this post online. Let me reach out to my chamber, which was, or my library in Parma, the Parma Library. It's actually one of the top notch of the Cleveland library system. So the Cuyahoga County library system. He reached out, and now the chamber and the library have a new partnership, all because Chris and I were connected on LinkedIn and started engaging different ideas, right? So pause for a second on this one and remember this circle of how are you engaging with these four audiences? And now we're going to pivot and we're going to talk a little bit more about your sales funnel. So everybody has a sales funnel in marketing, and do not get me on a soapbox. Cindy has heard me get on this soapbox. Sales and marketing have a relationship. Marketing doesn't work for sales. Sales doesn't work for marketing. We work in parallel lanes to help each other maintain momentum. Okay. So anyone that tells you differently, please send them to me because I'd love to have a conversation about this. So in order to understand marketing, you also have to understand a little bit about the sales cycle, right? You know, your goal is to drive membership, drive discounts, and drive engagement. Okay. Great. So one of the kind of sidebar rules. So this is kind of the rule of thumb that I talk about. Each stage of a sales funnel, you should have at least one marketing activity going on. It can be as simple as you visit your local coffee shop once a week. You send out a newsletter to current active and inactive members. You should have 2 seasonal strategies. Seasonal strategies can be as simple as how many of you had a holiday party for your chamber? That's an event, right? How many of you have sent someone to the Bright Stars leadership event? That's an event, right? Exactly. So those are seasonal strategies to drive revenue. Claudia, the chamber at Middleburg Heights, which is close to me here in Berea, Claudia did a big push for Small Business Week, right? So she went and visited and put a bouquet of balloons, I think, at each of her local chambers to let people know which ones were part of the chamber. That's a seasonal strategy she took advantage of. So then you can also have overlapping strategies. So here's one of my favorite overlapping strategies. You have a LinkedIn page or a Facebook page. That's a strategy. You have it. It's present. It hits multiple different audiences. But how you use that strategy is really important. Right? So we're going to shift now. This is where I differ, and this is where Cindy and I align on certain chamber best practices. So remember in the beginning when I said there's 3 groups I focus on: solopreneurs, chambers, and libraries. Those are my sweet spot because I know there are fundamentals of marketing with a chamber. Cindy and I share these same expectations in common. And if you don't, these are the chamber expectations that I have that every chamber should have without hesitation. And if you don't, connect with Cindy or connect with myself, and have Cindy set aside time with you to work on what your member onboarding looks like, to look at what your member ongoing communication looks like. Is it a digital newsletter? Is it a print newsletter? Is it an annual meeting? Is it a monthly meeting? Look at your board member expectations. Cindy recently did some training for local board members at different chambers to really set some expectations of what's expected of your board members to support you and your organization. What does your appreciation communication cadence look like? 3 big words. Basically, it means, how are you showing your gratitude? I appreciate you. So how do you appreciate others? Then the last one is a referral rewards program. How do you celebrate when someone refers another member to join your chamber? How do you acknowledge someone when they bring a guest to an event? Those referral rewards are critical for driving engagement and building that what we call a friends and family pipeline. So again, these are other sales strategies and marketing strategies that help you fill your funnel. And in that marketing frame of mind, we have to have resources to complement these. And Cindy and I have worked with chambers on all of those. All right, let's pause for a second. This is my chamber check-in. So we've gone through a lot of more of the foundation of marketing. Let's do a check-in with you. In the chat, I'd like you to please drop, when is your next upcoming event? So different questions, right? So do you have an activity for a subset of members? So I believe Solon Chamber of Commerce does I want to say it's monthly, where they do the workforce meeting with the Western Reserve Safety Council, I believe it is, if someone can help me with the acronym. All I know is I see the acronym, and SAVAR was just there yesterday. Okay. So, but they have that's for a subset of their members, right?
Megan, you are
Do you have any activities like that in the chat? Do you know, what's your social strategy for next? Oh, no. How about now?
I think you're okay now.
Okay. So I'll keep it on the screen. So what is your social strategy for next year? 3, 2, 1 is mine. I will post 3 pieces of content that are industry relevant, 2 shout outs or expressions of gratitude, and 1 salesy post. That's my strategy. If your strategy is just, I want to post once a week or promote an event online, that's still a strategy. Don't overcomplicate this, y'all. And then my next question is, how often do you ask your board for ideas or support? Cindy and I meet weekly. We have a group, our own personal board members for our own personal development. We meet, I think, quarterly, where we all sit down together, share resources, share ideas, lean on each other. But we also have a group text that goes on that if we need something, we can reach out. You need a wine sommelier, talk to Yolanda Albergati. You need someone to do an article write-up for you, talk to Barb Daniel. You need a leadership coach. Some of you may have attended Jill Wendell-Speck's Live to Lead. So we have that group, but how often are you asking for support or ideas? Oh, I love this. Karen's done. She's done for 2022. I love this. No more events. Oh, I love, Janet, I love that you're asking the board all the time. We'll work. Yep, that's a pin. We'll put a pin in that about getting many answers. January 11th, extra innings. Oh, loving this. Okay. Thank you so much, Jessica, for that. These are great ideas. Oh, I love it, Dina. You've got your weekly newsletter. You've got outreach at each meeting. Okay, better engage the board. Oh, these ideas are great. Oh, Julie, you have your holiday party next Tuesday. Yay! Dana's, yours is tonight, the holiday mix and mingle. Okay, you're in Euclid. Oh, you're on the wrong side of town for me. I'm so sorry. And I have so many holiday gifts to make that I still keep looking at my list and then watching the days go down. But that's going to be so much fun. Remind me, Dana will post about that tonight. Are RSVPs closed yet? Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute. All right. So let's pivot. So shifting gears, grab another piece of paper. All right, here's what you're going to do with your piece of paper, y'all. You are going to fold it in fourths. Yes, I know, this is insane. I'm being that person. So hold on, I'm going to grab a piece of paper. I don't expect you all to do origami, but we're going to still work with it. You're going to take this, you're going to fold it in half. You're going to fold it in half. You're going to fold it in half long ways again. Okay. Then I feel like we're going to make one of those activities that kids are just folding origami. Then you're going to fold it like this. All right. So when you open it, you're going to have automatically creased lines. Or if you're like, forget it, Megan, I am not in the mood to do origami, I will show you. You're just going to do this. You're going to do 5 rows this way, 5 rows that, and then draw 5 lines or 4 lines that way. Sound good? Because these are the columns we're going to fill out. And this is going to be individual to each of you. So this is going to be the guts of our meeting. All right. So Dana, with your permission, I'm going to use your event for activity number 1. So, all right. So activity number 1 is, what are you doing to attract prospects or new members? All right. So remember, as you're looking at this, to kind of talk about it, and I'll show you a hack. So this is a really cool tool if you don't have Annotate. All right, let's do this. Okay. All right, so this is, oh, go back. For some reason, it's not letting me annotate. Your top row, or your top rows that you see in the columns: prospects, members and their employees, social network, board members, and colleagues. That's your sales pipeline. Those are the audiences you're trying to engage. The thing on the left, the row on the left, the activities, what's the activity? What's the channel? What's the task? And yes, I know I spelled task wrong. Look to the left for the acronym. Are you telling someone something? Are you asking them to do something? Are you just sharing information? Are you trying to connect? What is your task with your marketing objective? Then what is your pre-communication promotion and what is your post-communication? So what do you do in advance and what are you doing for follow-up? So for every marketing activity you do, we need to follow this cadence. Identify your audience, right? Identify the activity that you're doing, the channel you want to communicate through, what your goal or objective is, telling, asking, sharing, or connecting, what's your pre-activity and what's your post-activity. Right. So up first, Dana has her holiday mix and mingle coming up, right? Which is great. It's tonight. Thank you. And she shared it in I love this. We also have the MAC luncheon in January in the state of the schools. Again, I think that's Kelly's. So we'll use tonight's mix and mingle, right? So the channels that Dana decides to use will be virtual and print. So she'll send out a flyer or a hard copy invitation. She'll also do something virtually, whether that's on social or via email, right? So her task is she wants to tell them about the event and then connect with them. Or maybe she wants to tell them and then ask them if they want to attend. So you can have multiple objectives, right? That's possible. You can also have multiple channels, possible, right? So her next is like, okay, so she knows it's a tell and connect. She's going to tell them about it and she looks forward to connecting with them at the event. Next, she's going to do in the pre-communication, she's going to do it on social media. She's going to post the event. She's going to make sure it's in her newsletter. She already has a hyperlink registration. Boom on that. She's also going to send personal email invitations saying, hey, I just want to make sure to my, your major players or your former sponsors of other events. She already has an event registration page set up on her chamber page. Right. So those are all of her pre-event activities. Now, here's the next thing. Post-event. Post-event is sometimes more important than pre-event. Post-event tells them A, gratitude, thank you for coming. B, it says, oh, this is what we love, and it gives them a reason to share. 3, it gives them a chance to follow up and know what's coming next. So in a social post, what you're doing in a social post after the event or during the event is you're tagging a lot of people and connecting. If anyone wants to take a peek at the NOAC page yesterday, there was a post about Cindy and her colleagues attending the WIN annual. In that social post, what we saw was, 1, you tagged the organization that sponsored it. You tagged other people who attended. She tagged the other board members who also were part of the WIN organization. And the engagement in that post exploded because people saw it and then it showed up on their newsfeed and people noticed that NOAC was a sponsor of WIN. So it showed a cross promotional. So it told people what was going and she connected with other members. And 3 of those people are now following the NOAC page that weren't following it before. So that's a prospects activity. How many of you, just by show of hands or in the chat, do an activity like do this kind of audit for yourself every time you have a marketing activity? Hit or miss. Julie, I like that. You're like, yeah, sometimes I do, sometimes when I feel like it. When my schedule allows and I don't need a virtual assistant. So if you're not doing this, put a mental note that we're going to talk about this in the next block. All right, so we're going to go through another activity. Here's a members one. I love the state of the school. So let's talk about this one. I love it. Yes, thank you, Jessica, for doing this. So with your members of the school event, your round tables by channel partners. This is just a checklist idea, right? Okay, so back to Claudia Motu's idea for Middlebrook Heights, or not Claudia, let's do Solon. Solon's, they do a round table, they know the cadence, they advertise it on their website, they put it in their newsletter, they promote it on LinkedIn. So it's in person and in print, they talk about it. They ask people to attend and connect with new members. That's the goal. They use social, a newsletter, whatever the case is. I put Calendly in here as a pre-communication because sometimes when you're doing a round table, you also want to meet with somebody in advance. You can use Calendly. If you don't know what that is, we'll talk about that later. It's an electronic calendar. If you don't know what it is, it basically saves you the 25 emails back and forth to someone of, does this time work for you? No. Does that time work for me? No. So, and then there's always a feedback in a survey. Always, always, always. Here are my favorite survey questions. On a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are you to refer this event to another friend or colleague? Please tell me more. That's it. Those are the questions. Your survey is not complicated. Your survey does not have to be 25 questions. It literally can be 2. On a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are you to refer a friend or family member to attend a chamber event? Now, you could add a bonus question in and be like, what about this event did what about this event stood out to you? Or what about this? How did you hear about this event? 3 questions, maybe. Never, ever, ever more than 4 or 5 questions in a survey ever. The ideal number is 2, because what it's doing is it's driving what's called a net promoter score, which is grouping your survey, those who complete your survey, it is grouping them in categories. Are they promoting your organization? Are they just kind of like, I'm neutral about it, and they're passive? Or are they kind of like, I would never invite someone to a chamber event, and they're giving you more information about what other events to host? Again, 2 simple questions. On a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are you to refer a friend or family member or friend or colleague to a blank, to a chamber event, to our chamber, to another event like this? Please explain your rating. That's it. Those are some of the most powerful questions, and they're questions that have been built off of net promoter scores and this trend we're seeing in just driving brand ambassadors or fans. So enough about that soapbox. So any thoughts or questions about how to engage members and their employees? Next one.
I do, Megan. So with that, the NPS, the Net Promoter Score, and you say you do that like as a post communication. Is that okay to do that? I mean, I've been seeing a lot at chamber events where there's a QR code on the table, and
I love that.
They're getting that feedback right away, even before they leave the event.
I love that idea. Yeah. Okay. Having a QR code of tell us about your experience. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It should not be complete this survey. It should be an ask. Tell us about, I love if you didn't tell by the first slide, I'm a total QR fan. Yeah. Cool. So if you have a QR code option just to scan, and before the end of today, I'll show you all how to find your QR code on your LinkedIn, but that's another hack. Yeah. That is a great question. Okay. All right. Any other questions on that first one? All right. So here's the next one. This is your social network. How are you going to engage your social network? I told you what my strategy was, but this is your chance to look at your list. All right. And we're going to pause for a second. What is your goal? How many times a week would you like to post on social media? Just write down your goal, because your activity is going to be posting on social. What is your goal? Once, twice, Do not put 7. If you do that, Cindy and I are going to have a conversation with you about overposting can be exhausting. Okay. Julie's got 2 to 3 times per day. Julie, I'd love to know what platforms you're using. So Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Because I know for me on LinkedIn, your algorithm on LinkedIn works if you only need to post once a day. If you post more than that, your post drops in the feed. But that's a great, I love your goal, Julie. That's an awesome goal. All right. So we know the channel. Oh, perfect. 3 times a week. Dana, love it. I love that you're depending on the variety. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Julie. We need to connect, Julie, so I can follow your awesomeness and all your posts and engage with them. That's a whole other conversation. Okay. So here's the ask. In your social posts, what's your call to action? I just had a conversation with one of my clients about 2 weeks ago on this. She's like, I don't want to include a call to action. Sorry, a month ago we had this conversation. And then 2 weeks later, we're looking at the data and she's like, no one's doing anything with our posts. I said, that's because you didn't want to add a call to action. People need to be asked or told what to do when they read something. It's a natural human reaction. We need that call to action. And it does not need to be sign up for my chamber today. It doesn't have to be register for the event. It can be check out this article. It can be share this with a friend. It can be tag someone below. It can be share your best book.
You are frozen again, Megan.
Recommendation. Different calls to acting. Okay, I'm moving again. Okay. So those different asks depend on the goal of the post. Say Dana does a post about an upcoming event for Euclid, right? Her ask might be click the link below to register, right? Cindy does a follow-up to the Bright Stars. Comment below and tag the leader that attended this event. Mark does a post on Fairview Park and says, hey, don't forget, share this with your local group so we don't forget about the event happening at Fairview Park this weekend. So there's different asks to do. So your social strategy is a marketing strategy, and just posting once a week is strong. Or posting 2 or 3 times, but diversifying what you post is really critical because you want to see engagement and you want to know who's going to help you drive that engagement. Then the next is the pre-post and the promoting your post. That does not mean you have to spend money on it. So here's a fun fact. I have a group of 8 people that if I'm going to post something big, I actually email them in advance and say, hey, on Thursday, I'm going to be posting about our upcoming LinkedIn Live. Would you do me a favor, please, and share it when you see it? I'll tag you to remind you. So if you've ever looked at my social media page and you see me go tagging other members of this group, tagging champions of this, tagging people I know who align with this, that's my cue to them that I want them to comment, share, or post. On Facebook, we like to share. On LinkedIn, we prefer people comment. There's a difference. Facebook, we like the shares. LinkedIn, we like the comments. So kind of remember that, right? So comment in my favorite 5-word comment on LinkedIn, commenting so my network can see. Simple like that. Every comment on LinkedIn needs to be 5 words or more. You want more details on that? Connect with me and we'll talk about my LinkedIn presentation. But simple and sweet. Commenting so my network can see. Commenting so my community sees. Tagging someone and saying that. So anything you do, that pre-comment promoting your post, it's not about spending money on it. It's about building that group of people. I don't know, perhaps your board members, perhaps your colleagues, perhaps certain people. I'm going to give a shout out to David Keller here. So David Keller is hysterical. David Keller is with Keller Insurance, and he's with the Solon Chamber. David and I met, but I know if I ever need a chamber post pushed out to an insurance space, David's my go-to. On the flip side of that, I know that Sandra and Rob Wentz, part of the chamber in Copley and in Fairlawn, are great go-tos for me if I need those chambers to see it. Hey, I'm posting this. I saw it in Akron. Sandra and Rob, will you please share? kind of thing. So go ahead and take a minute and write down 3 names that could help you communicate or promote posts. Hint, hint, there's 2 people on this call who could do it for you already. Cindy and Megan, or pick another person on this call to help you promote it. All right, we're going to do a pause as you're writing down these names. And remember, if you're not following everyone's chambers on this page, y'all, we got to talk. You should be. Cindy mentioned earlier, and this is what I loved. We have 134 chambers we support. Did you know Cindy is following 134 chambers on social? Why aren't you? And don't tell me you don't have time to go through and just click follow every time someone posts something. But again, we're going to go through the activity. That's going to be a best practice in January. All right. Post follow-up. All right. It's going to go for a soapbox for a second. If someone comments on your post, say thank you. If someone comments on your post, comment back. Please don't leave them lingering. Please don't leave your followers, those who are engaging with you, lingering. It is as simple as that. Thanks for your comment. I appreciate it. That's a great question. What did you like? Oh, sorry, you can't attend. Maybe next time, question mark. Receiving a comment on a social post is like someone handing you a gift. Pretend someone hands you that brand new mug that they just bought you with your monogram on it, like Cindy's, or like Dana's Christmas mug, you know, or Nana that Karen has, right? And you see that, but then you don't say thank you. You're like, oh, great. And then you take it and you sip your coffee, or someone bought you Starbucks and you're like, oh, that's exactly what I needed. But you say no, thank you. Or you just remain silent. Always comment back. That's your follow-up. Simple and sweet. Comment back. If no one comments, that's okay. We know we can work on your engagement. Next one. Here's something to have a little fun. How many of you have been posting about this is small business season? Show of hands. I know Cindy has. It's small business season. Yeah, I know Julie has. I know Parma has. I know. So as we talk about it, small business season, that can be your monthly focus. Here's a fun fact. You can get your board and members and colleagues involved by asking them, hey, what small businesses are you supporting this season that we could give a shout out to? Here's a post idea. Mark, I'm going to tag you for this one and go. Mark loves the franchise. I'm trying to think of a place in Fairview Park, and now I'm Gina's, the little breakfast place in Fairview Park. Okay, so I love, if you all don't know, there's a breakfast place that's like no bigger than a trailer, and it's absolutely delicious for breakfast, and she only accepts cash. So anyway, so Mark might do a Fairview Park shout out, right? And be like, hey, for those of you, who don't know, our board member, Mr. John Smith's favorite restaurant this small business season is Gina's. If you haven't been, be sure to thank Mark for this recommendation and check it out. Boom, post. Julie's board member, Sarah. Julie goes, hey, Sarah's favorite place to shop is this antique store owned by so-and-so. Be sure to check it out for the perfect priceless and vintage gifts this season. So reaching out to your board on like shop small season or next month. Next month is National Sunday Supper Month. Find out ask your board, hey, what restaurants that are, mom and pop restaurants do you love taking your family to during the week? Give that restaurant a shout out on social and tag your board member. Hey, just got a great recommendation from our board member X on going to this restaurant. What a great way to celebrate National Sunday Supper Month. So inviting your board members and your colleagues to share their recommendations is an easy way to start to cross-promote things. And it also shows your members that they're advocating for the members in your organization. Right? Think about cadences for this as well. If you want to do email, if in your newsletter that you send out, do a monthly shout out. Now, I'll tell you that Solon has figured out a way to monetize this, where if you want to get a shout out on certain things, they charge. You want to talk more about that? Talk to Cindy. She can tell you how they structured it so members can pay a certain fee to be called out or post an ad and fill their feed. So let me pause for a second. So any thoughts or questions on this? If this is helping, drop a 1 to 5 on a scale of 1 to 5, how helpful is this? 5 being all-star awesome. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. So we're going to fly through the next 2 because we've got 10 minutes and I want to respect your time. All right. So prioritizing your steps. I trust you all are good planners or you wouldn't be in your roles. So here's the event. Here are some best practices from my end. So I'm just going to fly through these. Public, make sure you're saving the date. Here are some timeframes that I recommend all chambers use. And with each task that you do for pre-communication and post-communication, you do a public and a personal, right? Personal does not mean you call your friends, family, and cousins, all right? Personal is just, it's a more personalized touch. So there's a public announcement and there's one with a personal touch. Right? So pre-communication, save the dates, personal invites and tags. Hey, we're hosting a holiday party at Heritage Coffee. Be sure to tag. La Crepe in Berea is now offering cakes made by a Ukraine bakery. Be sure to stop by and shop, whatever the case is. Post-communication, not express this enough. Gratitude, 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 gratitude. Thank people for showing up. Thank people for attending. Thank them for being part of the event. Post photos. People like to see eyes and people they know. I'm currently working with a couple chambers also on, please skip the stock photos. I know stock photos are needed. I get that. We all use them, but if you can get your real members that people recognize, use them. All right. Personal, send a personal thank you. If someone really stood out among the rest of the event, introducing people, connecting them, send that personal note. You know, it doesn't have to be associated with a monetary gift. It can just be a simple thank you. I really appreciate you. Right. So prioritizing your steps. So that was for events. This is for campaigns, 2 different things. So events are those in-person or virtual events. Campaigns are really those things that you want a longer approach to. Pre-communication public, make sure you update your email or your signature to include that. If you have a shop small season, make sure it's in your signature for the next 2 weeks. Make sure you have ongoing social posts, at least 3 a month for a campaign. You have a digital and or print graphic or flyer that you can distribute if people want information and they want to share it at their organizations. Personal. Schedule 3 to 4 weeks out that you're going to call 2 or 3 people a week that relate to the campaign. If you're doing shop small, call and check in on those businesses that are really retail focused. Social tags, give a shout out, find your local coffee shop. If you are booming in your area with bakeries, do a social media post on Facebook that says, inviting our members to share their favorite local bakery. Here are the 4 that are members with our chamber. Check, check, check. Do you shop here or do you enjoy sweets from here? Video messages. We'll go over some great tools in a minute, but a video message goes a long way. Vidyard, Vidyard, is a free video platform you can use to send a video message with a hyperlink. It's fabulous. And we'll go through that. Post-communication. Calendly. Oh my gosh, it was so great seeing you. If you'd like to follow up, click here to schedule an appointment with us. Social post. Follow up from this. Oh, and as wrapping up this month, we gave back $6,700 to this local community because so many people shop local. Newsletters, personal thank you, surveys. All right, planning when. This is all about calendar blocking. Okay. So how many of you, before I do this one, how many of you are like, I just don't have time to do the marketing I want? Right? Let me help. So if you set up your calendar for 2023 and you block out 15 minutes a day, this is my favorite, 15 minutes a day to work on social 3 times a week. That's it. All right. So that's 45 minutes, give or take, you take a 2-week vacation. That means you've put in about almost a full week working on social. That's 38 hours a year. 38 hours a year, and all you have to do is break it down into 15 minutes. So calendar blocking works. Next, schedule 1 hour a week for yourself for a dedicated marketing activity. That marketing activity can be calling, emailing, drafting posts, dropping off flyers, but block it off in your calendar as a non-negotiable, right? If you do that, that's, by the end of the year, you'll spend over an entire week of your time just doing marketing and driving your membership. Next, for any major event you have, back yourself up 6 weeks from the date of that event and block off 90 minutes on your calendar. This is a best practice I use, and I will tell you the peace of mind it gives me knowing I have a checklist to follow and I can assign different tasks to different members of my network is fabulous. So back up 6 weeks, block 90 minutes, write down everything you need to do, everything you want to do, make your wish list, make your priority list, and organize yourself with a timeline. Right? During a campaign, add a block of time to review your results with another team member, whether it's a board member, another chamber member with its me. Just block off 20 minutes to go in and look at to see what the data looks like. You don't know how to do that, we can talk about that, all right? Yes, it is the holiday, and we're going to make a list and check it twice. All right. Making a list and checking it twice. So go back to that list during your meetings. All right. Now, let me go back here. Any other recommendations on this? Okay. All right. So here's the fun one. I know we've got right now 4 minutes. So I have 2 more things to share. And time for Q&A. So if you have a Q&A, I love it. Content Studio. That's awesome. Yeah. Thank you for that. I don't know if I don't have that on here, but here are some resources. If you want to take a picture of this, you can. If you want to take a screenshot, go for it. But I'll add Julie. Check out Julie's in the chat. She mentioned Content Studio is another one for a great free post.
Megan, did you say you're going to share all of this PowerPoint?
All of these are free.
No,
you bet. Yeah, PowerPoint and resources.
So I won't keep scribbling.
Yeah. If your hand's hurting, please don't. Yeah. So, yeah, I'll share it all with you, I promise. All right. If there are any I missed, let me know, but this is the how to do it. There are resources to use to make it easier. Vidyard, your video platform. Briskine automates all your personalized emails on LinkedIn and in Outlook. I love it, love it, love it. You get 30 free templates. Calendly, I swear by it. Canva, free graphics. Pixels, stock photos. Unsplash, stock photos. Vecteezy is a recommendation from 2 graphic designers I know. If you need a vector image for something, Seek Logo. If you're looking for a logo that for a larger brand or a national brand, pull it off a Seek Logo. Please do not Google search it. Pixabay stock photos, LinkedIn, unlimited resources. You don't have to pay for Sales Navigator. Eventbrite, if your event is not charging anyone, it's free. QR-code generator, free. Google Forms, free. Microsoft Forms, if you have Microsoft 365, it's free. Outlook 3-dot-hack. If you ever get an email from someone and you look in your Outlook, at that message, there's 3 dots on the right. Click those 3 dots and schedule a meeting. You can actually make an email a task by doing that, or an email an appointment. So, all right. Here's the last one. So strategic planning together is really easier. So as a member of the chamber, I am as a member of NOAC and a chamber leader, I want you to have all the tools you want and you need to set yourself up for success next year. So if today was helpful and you want to take Chamber Planning 201 as a marketing course, I am offering it starting at the mid to end of January. We're going to kick it off. It will be a 6-week intensive. You will get 2 virtual lessons a week. You will also have a weekly check-in meeting. It won't be more than 30 minutes with other accountability partners. You will get social invitation templates to customize your social invites for people to follow your pages and for people to connect with you. You will also receive a list of 30 must-know connections on LinkedIn that will help engage and draw attention to your posts. You will also, in addition to this, I will make sure you have some custom Canva templates, and we'll talk about best practices with graphics. We will go through how to review your social media metrics and impact them positively. In that, you will also receive marketing ambassador support, meaning you tag me in a post, I will gladly tag back or comment. All right. I try to do that already, but I will show you how to build marketing ambassadors also within your circle and network. You will receive 25 by the end of the 6 weeks, you'll have had 25 proven social media posts that will drive engagement for you. You will have a LinkedIn Live guest spot. So we will schedule something in the first quarter together. Well, I'll invite you to join me on LinkedIn Live and chat about all your awesome chamber does. With that, you can check out other LinkedIn Lives I've done with Allison Crean, with Cindy, with Jill Windlespec, with Yolanda Albergati, with Christopher Johnson. There's quite a few on there. In addition to that, we will also do a quarterly strategic plan review. So at the end of that first quarter, we'll sit down together and we'll look at what's going on and then map things out. We'll also do a one-on-one meeting 3 times, and you can schedule that within the first 6 months of the year. So all of this, if you look at the average rate that the marketing people invest, it usually averages to over $2,000 for all of this. Q1 next year, I'm running it at a reduced rate of $14.95, but I'm offering it to you because you attended today, or if you know another chamber leader, that I'm offering it more than half off. So I'm reserving 3 spots for chambers who are tight on a budget, but still want to elevate their marketing. That is my gift to you this holiday, because I really want you as a chamber to have a presence unlike any other this coming year. So any questions on Chamber 201, Chamber Marketing 201? Here's the next one. Questions, comments, follow-up. What can I do to set you up for more success?
You explained it so great. Nobody has any questions.
All right, then I have a challenge for you. If you have no questions, fantastic. But if you're like, oh my gosh, Megan gave me so much information, I need another cup of coffee to get through this. I'm going to go. Here's what I want you to do. Email me, connect with me. If we're not connected on LinkedIn, let me know. I will gladly answer your questions. If you need to hop on a call for 5 minutes, you're like, I'm stuck, what do I do? Holler at me. Dana, to your event post, I will save the chat and repost it tonight of anybody I know that's at LinkedIn or that's in Euclid that wants to check it out. Game on. So, all right. So I want to thank each and every one of you for your time. And then my ask of you is drop something in the chat that's a new hack you'd like to implement for next year. So what's one thing we talked about today that you're like, ooh, I'm going to try that this month or next month? It could be the scheduling tool. It could be the calendar blocking. It could be a checklist. It could be asking your board for recommendations. What's one thing you're going to do next year that you learned today? Nice. Jessica, yeah, you will. I fell in love with Calendly, and it's free. I use it. Checklist, yeah, calendar blocking, yeah. Julie, asking board for recommendations it's even great to create like a master list of them, so you have a go-to reference guide and build off that. That's a great idea. But I love that you all are doing this. What else is anything? Oh, board engagement and recommendations. Yeah, ask your board to help. Thanks, Julie. I'm a checklist person. I'm a post-it note and checklist person. Yeah. Well, I hope you all, I know we went a little bit over, but I cannot thank you enough for all the help and engagement you gave. I hope this gave you kind of a new mapped out strategy of what to do for at least the first quarter of next year. If you want additional time to sit with me, let me know. I'm always available to help chambers, because what you do, I think, is very important. And I want to make sure that everybody knows about it. So thank you for your time. Oh yeah, Julie. Yep. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Awesome. I appreciate it. So I just have a couple of quick slides to run through before we are done. So our next Chamber Focus series is going to be January 19th. We're actually going to do an overview of Lemonade Day. So if you haven't heard of that, it's actually a really great program that you can bring into the school systems in your area. So we're going to learn more about Lemonade Day. So that's coming up in January. So if you're still on, or email me some topics for next year. We're working on our series for next year. So if you have any topics that you want to know about, We're looking at possibly doing some roadshow type of things where maybe once a quarter, we're actually going to meet in person in different areas to talk about some of these things. So we're excited to be able to do that too. So if you have any things that you want to know about, drop them in the chat or just send me a quick email. So again, I want to thank Megan for her amazing presentation, the tips and everything. I took so many notes. Super excited for all the information that she shared. So, if you'll notice, our social media for NOAC has always been so great, but it's so great lately because we actually have hired Megan to do our social media. So if you like what you're seeing, she is available to do that for chambers on a permanent basis. So I know I don't have time to do it to the extent that it needs to be done. So Megan does ours and she does an amazing job. And she certainly will do some consultation work with you to set that up. So if you have any more questions for Megan, go ahead and stay on. But we want to thank everyone for joining us this morning. Happy holidays. Stay safe. Have a great new year. And we'll see you at the next event.